Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm going to do Moon now in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th house, just to give you a little flavour of how Moon works in different houses. Right. Okay, so okay, I hope you're all well and have had a good chat with the universe yesterday, which we had the full moon. Just want to make sure I've got all of these. Yes. Okay. So here we are. Moon in the ninth house. So this is. We can talk a little bit about all of these and see what's going on. So Barbara Streisand, for those of you who are quite young and unaware who she is, she used to be this amazing singer in the 70s. I think that was late 60s, early 70s was really the height of her career. I remember, we went to see her movies like Funny Girl and Funny Lady. She was really, I mean, she's got a most amazing voice. And she's a Jewish lady and she's quite funny as well, actually. She can do this really quirky New York accent. She's quite funny in her nature, and yeah, so she's pretty something really. She's quite a legend really in that sense, and she's really famous for having nice hands. So let's have a look and see what we can find. So she has the ruler of her fourth house. Well, she's first of all she's Aquarius ascendant, and Saturn, her first lord, is gone into the fourth house, and fourth house ruler Venus has gone into the first house. And because for these people, for the Aquarius ascendants, this Venus is like the Yoga Karaka planet, is just incredible. So it's a fantastic yoga having the Yoga Karaka planet of ruling fourth and ninth house in the first house creates multiple wonderful things of success for her. She has Katie there as well, so it's representative of the fact that in a previous life she was just as this is something from previous life, her talents. So her you can see how somebody sings by looking at her what would be like her second house is her speech, and third house is the way you communicate. So both of them will be very important for that kind of thing. So you know that like third house ruler is Mars. That's also gone into the fourth house. And then, and for Mars, and for Saturn, and in fact for Jupiter too, all three of them, what's happening is they're quite strong because of the sheer fact that actually Venus is a Yogacaraka planet and is in good condition. So that in itself, it's very, very good to kind of resist all of that thing. So, but the third house ruler is Mars in the fourth house. So and so is the second house ruler in the fourth house. So she's actually quite famous, not just in the homeland, which is fourth house, but she's also overseas. And you can see that because obviously Saturn is the 12th house ruler in the fourth house too. And so she's had success abroad with that. And as you can see, so she's got Venus with K2. Venus with K2 can give you kind of unusual partners in a sense, because, or it could be that basically you've had the lessons of love, that kind of thing. And this time, this birth, it doesn't mean that you can't have relationship. It just means that in this lifetime, it's more about like interacting with other people, business partnerships, and that kind of thing. You're basically actually for her, it could also be relationships, but it could also be that a really, really strong career, because a seventh house is such a big representative of the of career, and because also Mars aspects it too. So, and that's a that's a pretty good kind of indication that when Mars aspects, it gives energy to those kind of things. And she is very, very famous. She made a really amazing career for herself. And she has got Moon in the ninth. So Moon here is a sixth house ruler in the ninth house. Excuse me. So obviously it's excuse me. It's Moon is it's gone into a trine, which is fantastic, and Moon does really well in Venus signs, 100%. But that Moon is also quite lonely. So there's no planets either side, which I normally take really well, and there's nothing opposite. So there's nothing really that's breaking that loneliness. So she's had to really she's through hard work. It's called Chemdram yoga, and through lack of support and everything else, she's had to push herself up. And this is the Moon also, which is quite likes to be around people, likes to be in likes to be in relationships really, and gets a lot from just interacting with other people. But it's got absolutely no form of what you might call any form of aspect or anything apart from K2. K2 is aspect in it, which is actually not the greatest thing because they're enemies to each other. So it's pretty lonely that. But you don't actually in Vedic astrology for Chemdram yoga, you don't really count the luminaries or luminaries. Excuse me. Seems so. Anyway, so this is definitely, and also what you can see, we're going to just have a look at the nakshatras as well here. So she's, her ascendant lord is, well, the nakshatra is Shatabisha. Rahu is also in the seventh house. And so that is also saying that, she's kind of got this kind of unusual thing about her too. And Venus generally does really well in Saturn signs as well. So that's quite a good kind of what do you call it? Good placement. Now she has got forget about Uranus, Saturn, Mars and Jupiter in her fourth house. So the chances are she's either got quite a lot of property because Mars is Karaka of property and or the significator, or she property and also cars. And she can have all different types of cars because Mars will give you a car that's sporty, Jupiter will give you a luxury car, and Saturn will give you like a very what you might call very steady, one of those reliable cars, which is not a bad thing. So, but it also tells you that maybe her relationship with her mom was not great. Maybe her mom was a little bit like she found that situation difficult. But these planets actually aspecting her 10th house really helps, and the sheer fact that Mars is also aspecting the first house, the 10th house, that's really good for her career. Again, and actually when the ruler of a house actually aspects the house, it protects the indications of that house. That Saturn is also aspecting the first house, which is a bit difficult for Venus, obviously, because it's with a malefic, and now it's getting aspect of another malefic. But Saturn rules the first house, and Saturn is friendly with Venus. So yeah, that's pretty good. But you can actually delay things for you. It can give you a little bit like quite a lot of pressure. I would say that would be the best thing. She's got a debilitated Mercury there, or debilitated sign, I should say, because Mercury is a little bit out of its comfort zone in watery signs generally, but particularly in Pisces because it's like 12th natural sign and it's Jupiter's sign too. And so this means that basically it's not debilitation sign, degree is 15. So it's it rules for her 5th and 8th house. Now I don't really know exactly what the relationship, has she got children, what her relationships are, with children are like, or I don't know if she's lost any children, I'm not sure. However, she's also, you could see quite clearly that Mercury, which is the ruler of the 5th house, being in the 2nd house and aspecting the 8th house, which you rule. So it protects the 8th house, which is all about like inheritance and taxes and all that kind of stuff. And house of sex, scandal things, protects that a little bit. But it's also 5th house is highly expressive. It's 3rd house is from 3rd house. So this is 3rd, 1, 2, 3. So that's, yeah, so it makes the person highly creative. And Mercury is planet of self-expression. So actually it's pretty good being there. Really helps the voice. Sun, on the other hand, is the ruler of the 7th house, being in there. It's in a friendly sign. So 7th house ruler in the 2nd house. So it kicks in her money, if you like, in that sense. But it just means actually her voice is not what you might call, it's quite authoritative voice. And that's what you can see with Sun and Mercury there. It's quite strong. It's, yeah, voice. So it's I wouldn't describe it as really softy voice. No, it's quite strong, powerful voice. Now, her moon is 6th house ruler in the 9th house. So it shows that there's probably disharmony with her and her mum and her dad, because obviously 9th house is father and moon is indicator of mother. So it could just be that either her mother was poorly or her father was poorly, or there was like they divorced or something like that. But that is also the way that she's in relationship, because the moon and the sun are like have got 6 and 8 relationships, 6 houses to sun, 8 houses to the moon. So this is how she approaches them. So she wants to kind of have control, 8 houses control, 6 houses arguments, and micromanaging partner. So let's read her chart now from moon. From Libra, the ruler of Libra, 1st house and 8th house is Venus, and Venus goes in the 5th house. So that immediately shows that she's highly expressive, highly creative lady. And then we have like, what happens is the ruler of her, Venus, is gone into the 8th house. So you can see that she's had quite a lot of changes, divorce, maybe surgery or things like that in her lifetime. So she's had a transformational life in the sense that, and this probably has not been easy for her, because it's actually what it is, it's a fixed sign. However, Saturn and Mars do extremely well in the 8th house. It gives you a long life with Saturn, and Mars also really helps the house, although it can give you like sudden death, you know, but it will be in the later years. But and have from the moon, she's also got Rahu in the 11th house. So lots of friends, lots of being in Leo, lots of influential friends too. So you can see that. And also the 11th house ruler goes into the 6th house. So you know that there could be issues within those networks too. So that's the first one. Let's go to, I'm just hoping to do these so you can get a little flavor of how to look at things. Okay, so we have this one. This one is Harrison Ford. So he is obviously very famous for Indiana Jones movies. He's a Virgo ascendant. It's interesting, really. Virgo is quite a practical sign, and he used to be a carpenter. So, and Mercury has gone into the 10th house. So he's obviously nice own house, very strong there. But he's also got like Jupiter, Sun, and Moon there. And obviously Moon doesn't do very well there. That Moon is very combust. That actually also shows that he's got eyesight issues. You know, they normally got weak eyes when they are, you know, the luminaries are so close to each other. Jupiter also, you know, expands, like, you know, makes his career really massively strong. But what's really good is that Sun is in the 10th house. So Sun has got directional strength there, so it's really helpful. But for even though Sun and Mercury are friends, however, by the sheer fact that this Virgo ascendant, for them, Sun rules the 12th house, it does give issues. So they kind of issues at work, and I have heard that it's quite a difficult person to work with. So I don't know. I don't really follow any of this stuff. I'm not really that bothered about their lives. And yeah, and Purnavasu is funny because Purnavasu means that they have to do things often, you know, just constantly do things. And Sun and Moon, obviously, they also the karakas for Atmakarka and Amadhyakarka in the 10th house. So he is very creative. This is like in the most creative, this is like self-expression sign, really, Gemini. Very good, very artistic, amazing. So, and Sun and Jupiter get on well, but Jupiter is obviously, although he expands his, you know, because it's a really important planet for Virgo ascendant, 4th and 7th house ruler. 4th house obviously gives him fame at home, homeland, and also abroad as well. And because of his job, he's had to travel quite a lot, obviously, because rules 7th house, Pisces. So, yep, that's and also he's got Venus, Saturn there. So Venus and Saturn. So Saturn is 5th house ruler, also 6th house ruler, and Venus is rules the 2nd house and 9th house. So it's a good, important planet for them. And unfortunately, Saturn actually, what it does, it spoils that really nice Raja Yoga because it rules the 6th house as well. But generally speaking, it would normally be like a 5th house ruler, Saturn, with, you know, 2nd house ruler, you know, that combination is really good for money. He's also got like a debilitated Mars in his 11th house. So Mars is his 3rd and 8th house ruler in the 11th house. It's really strange, really, because here we are, the planet that's supposed to be his 3rd house of expression, self-expression, acting, you know, that kind of thing, is debilitated. You just kind of wonder to yourself, how has he managed to do that, really? It's incredible. But obviously, I would imagine with most of these famous people, we don't realize it, but there's a reason why they've made it. It's not very often that, like, Joe Average, you know, gets famous or something. He's probably, somebody has known him, or his family or his uncle or something. He's had some sort of contact to get to that point. I'm not saying everybody, but I would generally just say that there's a reason why they get famous. Now, from the moon, we have that moon also, you know, it's not really in good situation, really, because of doesn't really get on with Mercury, and it's sitting there with the sun so close, combusting it. So I would imagine the mother at the time when he was conceived, you know, she was feeling a lot of pressure from his dad. So, you know, you can just see that they're completely combust, overshadowed by the father. So it was kind of more to, she was just trying to just please him, really, quite overwhelmed by him. So from the moon, this will be a Gemini ascendant, and Gemini ascendant and moon will be the 2nd, and also sun will be the 3rd house ruler, Jupiter will be 7th and the 10th, and Mercury will be 1st and 4th. So actually from the moon, he gets better yogas. So, or at least it confirms some of them in a better light, really. So that's pretty good. And he obviously loves spending money. Rahu in the 11th house from the 12th house from the ascendant. But generally speaking, so 4th house ruler in the 1st house, the 7th house ruler in the 1st house, 10th house ruler in the 1st, creating lots of Raja yogas there, and done yogas too. That's really good. And he's got, from the ascendant and from the moon, both of them, he has this planets in the 12th house. I always think that that's I don't really like it in men's charts, because I think they've got some sort of not so much in the ladies actually, but you know, I think particularly, well, unless if they are in Sattvic signs, but this isn't a Rajas sign, so I'll do videos on that. Yes, I'm not really that sure about that, but anyway. And Venus in Mrigashira, he could have wandering eyes, you know. So anyway, leave it there. And then Dolly Parton. So she is oh, it's actually moon in there. I thought it was 11th house, so I need to change that to somebody else then. Let's do the next one. I already as because I was looking for somebody. Oh, we can do Cameron Diaz. Let's find Cameron Diaz. There we go. Let's do her first then. Right, Cameron Diaz. She has moon in the 11th house in Kritika. In fact, actually, that's the Kritika is the nakshatra that moon gets exalted in, but obviously in the Taurus partner, in the Aries sign. Anyway, so she is a Gemini ascendant, and she has Venus, which is 5th and 12th lord in the 1st house. So that in itself means that she is she's very intelligent, and she also constantly thinking about things, constantly worrying about things. And for this ascendant, Venus rules 5th and 12th, as I said, and then also Saturn rules 8th and 9th house. So this obviously, Saturn being the ruler of the 9th big trinal house of luck and happiness and opportunities, going there in the going into the 12th house, that kind of spoils the 9th house things a little bit. However, it doesn't break any yogas that drastically. It's just that the feeling behind it could be difficult, because if say it ruled 6th and 7th house, then it could break a Raja Yoga. They are kind of yoga breakers, but 8th and 12th house rulers houses, they're actually impressionable houses. So in that case, they don't actually do that. They no, they don't. So anyway, so we have the 1st house ruler in the 2nd house and 4th house ruler in the 2nd house. So you can see that she's very capable of making her own money, and she's very successful anyway. And 3rd house ruler is the sun. So sun nice and strong in the 3rd house, makes her extremely intelligent and creative. But Mars is actually, for this ascendant, it's not really good planet, because it's like rules 6th and also 11th house, and it's gone into the 3rd house. So obviously Sun and Mars work together quite well. The only problem, and it really helps the 3rd house. 3rd house makes you quite brave, and she must be quite brave. She's been through quite a lot though in her life, so I think she hasn't quite had the success that some people have enjoyed, and she has struggled with her role, and you can see that. So she's got a lot of, amongst her friends, she's got quite a lot of enemies, because 3rd house is your friends, and 11th house ruler Mars is also groups of friends are quite, and so she's had quite a lot of difficulties in that. And then we have Jupiter right across from Venus, so the ruler of the 7th house, strong in the 7th house. Now, Jupiter in the 7th house is obviously good, because people see you as a nice, you come across this like nice, happy, optimistic person, but it never gives you satisfaction, because particularly Venus and if you have Venus and Jupiter opposite each other or together, what happens is, you always think that you could do better. It's actually Venus in the 7th is the same. So that could cause a lot of problems. And also, this is a 7th house ruler is being aspected by the 12th house ruler too. So it's not just the 5th house ruler. So although it creates a really nice Raja Yoga 5th house ruler aspect in the 7th house, or 5th house ruler aspect in 10th house. However, 10th house ruler, it is also, Venus is the ruler of 12th house. So it could show losses in love and romance and things like that. And children as well, I can probably give her losses to do with children. But clearly it's a good planet for Gemini. So having Venus on the 1st, she's intelligent and quite fun, and, quite sort of like able to have fun and enjoy life, really. She has Rahu in the 8th house. That's pretty good, because it can give you sudden gains. Amazing. It's a malefic, so she's probably in for some. I'm sure she's had good gains. It also gives you quite a lot of sexual partners too. And so we have Moon there. So Moon being in Critica there. So Moon being in the 11th house, being the second house ruler, that is a massive Dana Yoga, because Dana Yogas are always between trinal houses or second and 11th house. But the best ones are second and 11th house ruler. 11th house ruler in the second or second house ruler in the 11th. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that's very good. So this is how I see hers. Now her moon and the sun are 5 and 9 relationship, 5 places between moon to sun and sun to moon. Nice. So that's pretty nice how mom and dad were kind of quite, nice together. Their relationship was pretty good when they met, when they conceived her. And let's have a look at her. George Clooney. I'm not a big fan of his. I'm really sorry. Oh dear, I don't know. There's something about him that gives me the creeps. I know everybody, all the women fancy him, not me. Okay, so wow, he's got like a exalted Venus in the second house. It's a Yoga Karaka planet ruling fourth, and the ninth house in that. That's really amazing. So this will be also good for money massively. Ninth house ruler in the second house, fantastic. But look at this, he's got K2 first of all in the ascendant. So it gives you Rahu lots of partners, and I'm sure in those sort of businesses they do. And a foreign partner at that, and he's married to a foreign lady. But the first house ruler is in the 12th. So, I don't know if he's that at ease with himself, really. And Jupiter also debilitated there in the 12th house. Jupiter is second and 11th lord debilitated in the 4th house. So I guess he's kind of like spending money, has had a kind of, I don't really know about his financial status, but I would imagine he's had some issues with money there. And this is, he has earned a lot of money, I'm sure, because obviously he's got he's got exalted Venus there, amazing. He's also got Moon there too, so he's had some maybe health issues, litigation issues that we probably don't know about, that he's had to created some losses for him, or he might have done things for his mother that has cost him money. But he's definitely got like a debilitated. It's funny because in his chart, he's got Mars and Jupiter there. They're both debilitated, but they are actually aspecting each other, and it is said that can kind of cancel each other. So if you have two exalted planets looking at each other, they can cancel each other out, and so can this. But I always think, even if they ever get like what do you call them? I forgot now. When they get like a cancellation of debility, what will happen? I still think you still have those issues with it. Absolutely. I don't think it's as easy as people say it is. They definitely create some issues for you before it gets better. And these are obviously happening between, they're both in sort of difficult houses, 6th and 12th house. But the good thing is with his is that he's got a debilitated Mars in the 6th house, which is the best house for his for this, for Mars to be in. And also Mars is also aspecting the 6th house ruler, and the 6th house ruler aspect in its own sign, so it protects the 6th house. He definitely can get over those things. But he could have like issues, really. There's some health issues of mother or something like that, or himself. Now the other thing is as well, so when the first house ruler is being aspected, and sitting with the moon, because moon is naturally the 6th house ruler, so that's going to give him some issues too. So between sun and moon, there are like 4 houses to the sun, 10 houses to the moon. So there could have been some, when they are sort of in these angles, sun and moon together, there's somebody in the household that likes to be the boss. It's always worthwhile knowing that. So yeah, that's pretty good. And this having an exalted Venus there, which is like your Karaka planet, really helpful for his money. And he's also aspecting 8th house of southern gains too. So, and that Mercury has gone into the 3rd house, 8th house and 5th house ruler in the 3rd house. So he is actually 3rd house is house of self-expression. He's got an exalted sun there too, so that's really helpful. It's interesting, isn't it? He's got 2 exalted planets and 2 debilitated planets in his chart. Let's see what happens to them in this, like, so he becomes Pisces ascendant, 1st house ruler in the 2nd. So that's really nice. That's 1st and 10th house ruler in the 2nd. Good for money, that one. But he's got Mars in Mars is a 2nd and 9th house ruler in the 7th house. So it does create really nice Rajdan yoga too. 2nd house ruler, 9th house ruler facing the 1st house. But he's still got planets, 2 planets in the 12th house. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So I don't know. I get a funny feeling about him. I just feel as though there's so much about him that we don't know. Do we really care? I don't really know. Anyway, have a lovely weekend, folks. See you soon. Thank you.